Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, we are back in the office.
Back in the office where it's about the same temperatures in Tucson, unfortunately.
Yeah, right. A
Yeah, back
swimming
to
pool.
normal, but we had not gone to the expo when we did our recording last week. So we can talk a little bit about the expo. And I know you were on the lookout for anything new. Did you see anything new?
Honestly, I did not think I would find a lot only because the Global Produce and Floral Show was just a couple of weeks ago, and I figured I walked that wishbone. I don't even know what my step count was, but I exhausted myself walking up and down that show floor. But at Swipe, I did end up finding five booths that made me stop and ask a question. And that's always my criteria is what made me stop and want more information because I feel like from a buyer's perspective, that's what an exhibitor wants to do is to attract the attention of someone who wants to ask more about it. So I put together my five things that got me to stop and take a look and ask a question. And one of them is a bonus because I thought it was just a pretty booth. And you know, at a regional show, you never know how much effort's going to go into building an eye-catching display because for just 4 hours of show floor time. So you'll have to check those out. That'll be on producebluebook.com.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. I'm not going to give it any spoilers. You got to go read it.
I did an interview with FPAA President Lance Youngmeyer, which people can view. And the most interesting thing, the the growth of Swipe has been fast. Last year was the first year. This year it was roughly 50% bigger expo and attendees. And it's gotten to the point where they don't want to be so close to IFPA. So they will not have a show in 25 because it will be in January 26, so 14 months. So they're not really skipping a year. They're just moving from fall to beginning of winter. So just so viewers know, if you're thinking about it, Southern Arizona in January might not be so bad.
It's definitely golf weather, for sure. You'll have to elbow your way through all the snowbirds who are there playing golf.
I'm sure they
Uh,
can manage to get the course that'll work.
right? And I have a clue in my background here of what we're going to talk about next. I also have a creeper over there. Uli, I could see you, bro. Um, we're going to talk about Thanksgiving because I don't, all indications that we're seeing, Thanksgiving's a week later this year, than it usually is. Usually you have that week after, buffer between November and December, but, I think people are going to get caught off guard because, it sounds like consumers are already doing their shopping.
Oh yeah, we've had stories from so many retailers about their Thanksgiving deals. I had another one from Kroger this week, and
Yep.
it's a pretty good deal that they put out there. We
And
both noted fresh potatoes.
mm-hmm. Yes. Kroger says $4.85 for a meal for 10. And what I love about it, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe someone from Kroger's paying attention, that they are calling it fresh giving. So we're not seeing any boxed potatoes here. And for a very affordable $4.85 for a meal for 10. So that was great news. And there was another one from Meyer. I think they had some kind of turkey giveaway, but the turkey giveaways are pretty normal. I think the Giant Company had one as well. But Circana's data is kind of delving into what consumers are already doing. And of course, they said 79% of people plan to have like their traditional Thanksgiving. And you were like, well, what is a non-traditional Thanksgiving? And I'm like, it is a beach vacation. So I've heard a lot of people going on vacation rather than having a big family get together, and I could totally see the value in doing something like that this time of year.
Yeah, if you can get a deal and Thanksgiving's not that big a deal, like I that's not unreasonable. my college basketball team plays in Maui every 4 years for Thanksgiving, and last year is the year they were there. So I've never gone to that. We don't just jet out to Maui, but I know a lot of Jayhawk fans do that, and they get a ton of people there every year because schools are only allowed to go once every 4 years. But so that is a very popular vacation spot at Thanksgiving time.
Yeah. I mean, I have a friend who went to a soccer match at Liverpool over Thanksgiving a couple of years ago. And that is when all the Christmas markets open in Europe too. If you are so inclined to have one of those European Christmas vacations, do it early when the Christmas markets are open. But anyway, Circana was saying that consumers are already stocking up. Of course, I don't think that buying your produce already is wise unless you're buying like a sugar pumpkin to make your own DIY pumpkin pie. Might be a little too soon to buy your potatoes, although my mother-in-law probably has them on a grocery list and will store them some way to keep them from sprouting ahead of the holiday. But I thought that was
We
interesting.
asking a lot of something fresh.
Yes. Yes. Maybe cranberries. Cranberries, you can go ahead and buy those. But I have a feeling that most people are delaying their fresh Thanksgiving purchases and right now just stocking up on the pantry staples so you can help defer some of the cost because when you're someone like me and you who full send on Thanksgiving food, it pays off to go ahead and shop the deals ahead of time and spread out the costs so it doesn't hit you all in one week of groceries.
Yeah, they they advertise under $50 is Kroger's. Um, it's hard to imagine mine's going to be that way for 10 people.
Yeah, no.
I don't think I'm going to keep it under 50.
There's usually like 17 to 20 people at the Thanksgiving at my in-laws' house, and that's pretty crazy. And I do not think that it is under $50 or even under $100. I will probably be bringing like, $20 worth of mashed potatoes. Uh, so yeah. No, sorry. Oh, you know what? On another note, we saw an acquisition this week that, I mean, everyone ran it, right? We all get the same press releases sometimes, unless I'm better at hunting them for them than others. Um, but we saw Grubhub get acquired, and I think that buried the lead in this in some ways. You noticed something about the acquisition that I didn't when I first found it.
Yeah, the terms of the deal in the press release we got was Wonder acquiring Grubhub for a value of 650 million. But as I was doing some research on it, I noticed that the company that sold it, Just Eat Takeaway, which is a European-based company, had bought Grubhub in 2021 for $7 billion. So my journalist math tells me that's about 90% devalue from 7 billion to 650 million. So I would say they're not killing it. At least they have not killed it over the 3 years that they owned it.
These third party delivery systems, they were and rapid grocery third party delivery. Grubhub was one of the like an add-on to jump into that rapid grocery sphere for some of the grocers that were working with them. There has been the meteoric rise and the huge crash in those. We've seen most of the rapid groceries are gone. GoPuff is one of the ones that's still hanging out. But we're seeing a lot of attrition in companies and a lot of consolidation in those. But I didn't notice that it was that much lower value than it was just a couple of years ago. So that was really tells you something about that industry, I guess, because we're seeing them continue to just throw. I mean, how many Instacart press releases have you seen like over the last month? There's probably been 15 of them.
It is
Um,
prolific.
yeah,
But
it is a
on the
lot.
other side of that, we had our Brick Meets Click monthly evaluation of e-grocery, and it's booming according to
Yeah,
their numbers. So Does that tell you that the big boys are now dominating that space and all these tech, uh, maybe some of the people who first got in and were very exploratory and creative, it's just not panning out. And now Walmart's the one who's owning it.
Right? That is part of it. But Instacart's been one that's been in there for a long time. But some of the ones that kind of popped up and made a big splash have kind of backed out of them. And then we just see, I would have to look at the Brick Meets Click thing because I know that delivery was one of the areas that was a lot of growth, and that one had struggled with pickup being what the pickup I think was one of the ones that was like steady because it's so cost effective, and delivery was the one that still had a lot of room to grow. So I think it's posting big numbers, but 28% year over year growth in online grocery is definitely noteworthy from
Yeah,
Brick Meets Click.
delivery was up significantly.
Yeah,
Year 4.8 billion versus 3.3. So that's close to like a third growth. And
yeah.
pickup was, they probably have the numbers in here. I'm just looking at the chart and doing the math. Um, well, I'm not seeing it real quick, but ship to home, but virtually no growth. So
Yeah,
a
that's
little
like
bit of
meal
growth
kits.
in pickup, solid growth, but even bigger in delivery. So um, I, I I really thought pickup would grow more. I'm kind of surprised that delivery is doing that well.
You see a lot of retailers putting their own spin on delivery though, because I see HEB vans around town. I see back before they pulled out of this market, I would see Kroger delivery vans all over Austin, but I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with that. But they do not do it here any longer. That was one of their hub and spokes. But we're seeing a lot more retailers go back into the delivery module. But it also is just crazy to me that the in-store shopping thing is still so huge. Um, like we would have thought that it would have gone to micro fulfillment centers by now, but it seems like they are finding a way to make this profitable. And have the in-store shoppers, even though if you try to go on a Monday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon or something like that, you are just like weaving through the store through all of these online shoppers. It's a little like makes me want to like shake my fist and tell you to get out of my grocery store. Um, but I think I'm the minority in those.
Well, they're shopping for a fellow customer. It'll be different when they're robots.
Yeah, it'll be different when they're robots. It reminds me of some of the horrifying like robot mock-ups that they have. What if it was like instead of a people, it was a people-shaped robot walking through the store? And we're not talking about like Marty with the googly eyes. We're talking about like with the legs going through the store and falling over trying to pick things up. That's a really fun visual.
I think they should do them like those dogs that you see from that Boston Dynamics ones that
Yeah.
jump and have guns on them. Like just put a card on their back. I think that would work.
All right. That's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up. We'll see ya.